Taste of Travel here. Our last session is about to commence. Is that all right? Thanks for coming along. And we have Steve Walpole and Kelly Stevenson, who's just getting geared up for a really fun end of show.
Well, it's not just going to be fun, Joe. It's going to be called Culinary Carnage. Because I've realised it's day 3. You're all a little bit, lacklustre. Some of you have decided to drink far too much orange squash last night. So, your energy levels are all over the shop. Can't believe the Irish bar is still serving Ribena till 3 o'clock in the morning. So what I thought I'd do today is just follow on the themes from the last couple of sessions and talking about health, well-being. We just had 2 really good sessions about breakfast and pick-me-ups and how to sort of really elevate your day and things, followed by one of my favourite sessions, which was the culinary nutrition with Melissa Adamski and Gwedo from En Route, where we talked about how food really should be looked at in a different way, how to really consider your journeys on travel, whether it's planes, trains, automobiles or whatever else. So we're following that on by saying, you know what, like fine dining can be healthy. Fine dining doesn't have to be all the creams and the fats and all the really sort of, if you like, the indulgent stuff that we all love. I'm not saying it shouldn't still have it. So I'm very privileged today and quite lucky because we've got a wonderful chef called Fobber. He's from the Royal Schmiel. He's an absolute expert on seaweed, so there's a real health element going towards this. We've then got Jana Strudel from Dr. Strudel, which does the amazing flavoured pearls. So again, we're going to talk a little bit about how we're elevating flavours and everything else. And because no show that I ever do would not be, a show if I didn't throw a curveball in. So luckily, myself and Kelly have been friends now for a number of years. After this session, I'm not sure Kelly's going to be friends. So what I'm going to do is, I haven't told Kelly what we're cooking. So Kelly Stevenson is the drinks expert. I'll let her talk about herself in a minute. But basically, yes, she's going to have to do on the spot drinks pairing with the food that we're doing. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't mind, Fob, are we ready?
Yeah, sure.
Jan, are we ready? Kelly, good luck. Right, ladies and gentlemen, can I have a big round of applause, please, for my 3 fabulous guest chefs and people today.
It's not working.
It's not, what's not working?
It's the plates. Oh, yes.
It's
still
working.
on. Thank you.
Sorry, Fobber, it's a bit like me. It's a little bit slow, takes a bit of time to work up, but once it's there, you're not going to stop it. Right, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the the piece de resistance of the last demo of the day. And I'm always very privileged to come here to Onboard Hospitality and do demonstrations. And every year I get to pick themes because Joe and the team here and Onboard team do a fabulous job throughout the year, really focusing on trends, focusing on information, focusing on what's going on. So, as you well know, we've been through a COVID, we've been through a number of different food cultures and food things happening. But actually, there's been some real positives come out of that now. And that is that, it's now acceptable to put, healthier things on menus. It's a bit more around gut health. It's certainly a lot more around low and no alcohol, Kelly, isn't it, in regards of, the trends and stuff. So, it means now that we can do more natural cooking. People are much more aware about how to get things. And with an aircraft, as you know, when we're up in the sky, flavour and taste is imperative. Food is a big part of your journey when you're travelling. So therefore, you want to be able to indulge it. You want to be able to have something that has that indulgence, but also works. And like I said in the previous demo, we were talking about the fact that, how do I elevate that? So, I'm very privileged. I'm going to give some shout outs to some wonderful people today. So first up, I'm going to talk about Copert Crest because they are a wonderful company. Please don't talk to them about being garnishes because they are not. They are food elevators. They are architects of aromatique is probably the way to say it. So use it as an ingredient, use it as something to elevate flavours. It doesn't have to just be nice, pretty micro leaves or these small cresses and stuff. If you use these, so for instance, this is something called Tahun cress. So as we're talking airlines, we're talking umami. So you turn it into a flavour, a powder, because it's got that nutty sort of flavour. So we're going to use these as just a little salad. We've got some wonderful salmon that we've cured. We've then got some seaweed, which Fobber's going to talk about, and then we've got olive oil from Monte Biviano. We've then got some little snacks from my mates at the Savourists. So we're going to use a gluten-free snack as a garnish. So it's going to be a different texture within the salad. Because it's got the free-from element and it's also really low in salt, sugar and everything else, it's really going to work. Jana obviously has the pearls, so instead of using lots of fats and oils and heavy dressings and butters, we're using these little pearls because it's just going to lift the flavour. And it's a really, really simple process. So Jana, do you want to talk a little bit about your pearls and talk about what you do and who you are? That would be great.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Steve, for the introduction, of course. Well, we all love good food, and we actually talking about healthy food and talking about travel. We need to have flavors. We don't need salt, really. We need to have flavors instantly in the pearls. I mean, we all know molecular cuisine, which is sounding really very chemical, which is not. All the pearls which I'm doing, I used to be scientist or chemist in my previous life. So everything what I'm doing is absolutely natural. So no artificial colors, no artificial flavors, no artificial preservatives. It's all natural. So when we're normally preparing a dish, we put salt, we put pepper, and especially when we're preparing food for the travel, that means we season it ahead of time. With the pearls, you can season it just in time. That means that the flavor is created in situ, so to speak, on the palate. And we don't need salt because we just need something to inspire our taste buds. That can be acidity, that can be flavors, that can be whatever. So the pearls are actually magic in terms that you taste them only when you bite on them. That means you put just a few pearls on top of salmon or on your chocolate ice cream or on your meat or whatever it is, and they are mixing directly on the palate. It's decoration, it's flavor, it's health, because you avoid seasoning too much in terms of salt, which we all don't like. And all the pearls can be adapted, or I did adapt them to the flight conditions because the flavors are changing up there. So it's very easy to use. You just open the jar, you take a couple of pearls, they are looking beautiful, they create emotions, they create flavors. And you can also use the liquid, which is in the jar, to season your sauces and whatever you do. And you can use it in drinks, you can use it with salmon, you can do it with desserts, and you can complement it with the greens from Copat Crest, for example.
And I think the thing I like about it is you can almost bespoke any flavour, any type of product. So for me, as a chef designer and a chef developer, State Life Fopper as well, like, you know, we did a presentation in Barcelona for Seafood Scotland, and you made me a bespoke honeyberry flavour. So honeyberry is from the honeysuckle tree. There's a Scottish honeyberry growers in Scotland, obviously. It's a Japanese-style berry. They make a juice, they do dehydrated, so it's got all the antioxidants. It's a fabulous product. But you actually bespokely made me a pearl. So what we did was we marinated the salmon with the honeyberry juice, and then you made me the pearl to complement that. But then she also made me a lovely whiskey and orange. The whiskey and orange ones to go with the smoked salmon were just superb. So, as you said, the great thing is you can use the different dresses. You can come and try them anyway. So Fobber.
Yeah.
What are you up to? So, like, he's just a machine. He just makes stuff. So, Fobber, what you need to do is you need to start talking about what you're doing so that Kelly can get a little less nervous and start to pair up what she's going to do. So, Fobber, what have you got there in front of you? You can talk about you and seaweed, because obviously we talked about flavour and enhancing and going natural and more, you know, lower salt, lower sugar, etc., etc. But you've been doing a hell of a lot of work around seaweed as a product and what you're doing. So, do you want to explain where it comes from, what it is?
Now, what I do with seaweed, food's all about taste. You taste with your eyes, you taste with your mouth, you taste with your hands, all kind of different manners. You taste is important.
Yes.
So, and when you use seaweed, and we use fresh seaweed, only from Europe. So we buy in fresh seaweed from Ireland, Scotland, Norway, and also the Netherlands.
Nice.
And we blend it in a typical blend. We can use it in different applications, also for sauces. In this starter, I made a vegan cream spread with seaweed, with a blend of brown seaweed for the umami taste and the bite, the little bit bite, like,
so you're getting that almost. It's not a taste of the sea, though, is it? It's not a really salty thing, is it?
No. Because 95% of all seaweed is dried. And when you're drying seaweed, you get the fishy taste and the fishy smell. And seaweed, it's the vegetables out of the sea in salt water. So they all taste fresh and have all different type of flavors. And if you use it fresh, then you can make a lot of applications with different kind of seaweed species.
So we've done a gravlax. So the gravlax is your usual salt, sugar. We've got a little bit of dill and then a little bit of the seaweed in there just to help bring it up. Because again, you know, I don't mean to harp on about it, and I didn't want to be bleating at people for the next, you know, however many days around health and well-being, and you know, you really need to do better, because it's not about that. We spoke about it earlier. It's like small little incremental changes. It's you know, making a conscious choice, whether it is a low or no alcohol, whether it is, you know, a supplier using seaweed within their development to try and, you know, bring down on meat. I mean, haven't you designed a seaweed within your Beamster cheese? Isn't it? You now got a cheese that's seaweed.
Also here, for example, the meatballs.
Meatballs.
We reduce the meat by 50%. And here are the meatballs. And there's less than 50% of meat in it. But the texture and the taste is also really 100% of meat. And that's what's happening when you use the right types of seaweed, because there's a lot of fibers and alginate in brown seaweed. So
it's meat, vegetables, and seaweed.
Yeah, you have three kinds of seaweeds. It's the red seaweed, the brown seaweed, and the green seaweed.
In the meatball, it's just meat and seaweed, or meat, seaweed, vegetables?
No. It's 20% of seaweed and 25% of other vegetables, and less than 50% of meat.
Honestly, ladies and gentlemen, if I can get this the next time I go to IKEA, if you have an IKEA near you, you know what I'm talking about. Obviously, that's not on the health and well-being list, but I'm trying to work it out, because if they get the seaweed, finally, it's good. I can let the kids run riot in the bedroom section while I'm eating meatballs. Right, so you've got a little bit of gravlax. So we've got the salty, we've got the umami, we've got the seaweed. What else have you got on that plate there?
Yeah, the fantastic tasting of the pearls with the yuzu.
Oh,
yuzu saffron.
Yeah. So if you don't know, yuzu is lemon. I mean, just look at the colour. I don't know if you can see up on the screen.
Yeah, it's.
I am going to need a coffee after this. I'm getting far too excited for the second time, and my second demo of the day. But this is what we talk about, Jana. Like, it's the colour, but look at the jar there with the dressing. So you can use that liquid. But again, it's a little burst of flavour, so you're getting that yuzu. So forgive me, like, do you want to explain just the yuzu lemon flavour difference to a lemon flavour, being the scientist, and hopefully you can do that for me?
Well, basically, yuzu is, at the moment, if you ask anyone on this planet, I think, if they ever tried yuzu, they love it. It's a Japanese fruit. It's a Japanese lemon. It's not lengthy. It's a round fruit. So it's much more bitter in taste. It's much less acidic, but one has to be careful about bitterness in the sky, because we all know that the acidity is diminishing. So one has to adapt the recipe to have the product enjoyable under the flight conditions. In this case, the color is coming, of course, not from yuzu, but from saffron, which is not a coincidence, because saffron, we know this is the most expensive spice in the world, of course, but saffron is doing a lot of things in nutritional terms. It preserves vitamin C, for example. It makes the flavor of sake, for example, more umami-like. This is what we all, that it is heating still?
Yes,
it's still on. It's still on. I need it for my warm water.
We've got it. We're professionals. We know what we're doing. Allegedly.
So actually, I don't want to make it a more scientific presentation here.
Put it here,
but
Kelly can have a
yuzu is perfect to go with fish and seafood to elevate all these flavors, of course, but also to make it more healthy, if we are talking about healthy product. You can, of course, go with bergamot, which is a completely different flavor.
I love bergamot,
or we can go with kaffir, which is also...
So just out of interest, why yuzu over lemon? Is it because of just a different taste profile? Because obviously, Sicilian lemons, everybody knows, bigger, larger, but a lot more subtle and less. But
it is, you have to taste it. Basically, what we don't decide on the flavor, our palate decides on it. So it is, of course, there is a background of the chemical choice, but it is also a different combination. It is a different umami type of combination of fish with yuzu.
So you go to that level of detail, and I shouldn't just say it because you are a scientist. But
yes, I'm sorry.
I'm a scientist. No. It's absolutely great.
Lifetime crime.
No, don't. Because I love people like you, because people like you make people like me look a genius. Or in my case, Fopper makes me look even more of a genius because he's doing all the work, if you haven't noticed, ladies and gentlemen. So Fopper, do you want to just explain that dish? So we've got the gravlax.
Yes.
We've got the vegan cream with the seaweed. You've put the yuzu pearls. We've got some wonderful cresses from Copper. So you've put the little tahune cress on there to give that umami flavour.
And oven roasted kohlrabi.
Kohlrabi, yep.
Kohlrabi, it's also there, and vegan cream cheese with the seaweed.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to give Fopper a first round of applause and for that dish. But now we're going to put her on the spot, because I love doing that. And also, if you haven't noticed, she's round there, I'm round here, so if it all goes wrong, I can get to the fire exit before Kelly finishes. So, yes. So, Kelly, do you want to just explain a bit about Jetvine, about you, and then you've now tasted a bit of the dish and what you're going to do and the products you've got?
Yes, thank you very much, Steve, and thank you for having me. Thank you to everyone who's come along to watch us today. Thank you to Chef and to Jana for creating these amazing dishes. I get to do the drinks pairing, which should be the easy bit, but let's face it, you can't have food without drink. And what we're seeing, I run a company called Jetvine, by the way, so I support drinks brands and drinks companies in navigating travel retail. So looking to airlines, looking to rail companies, and looking to that space and how they can create their brand and their drink for succeeding in this channel. So hence it's amazing to be here. But what we're seeing, and I've spoken about this a lot over the last couple of years, is a move to a trend for choice for the customer and healthier products that are good for you. And I've got a few products here today. I genuinely didn't know what Chef was going to cook, but I'm really glad he's done this dish full of umami, because it's no secret that umami is the sense on an aircraft when you're at altitude that you can detect. Sweet, sour, salty, dumbed down. At altitude and at that pressure and with white noise in the cabin and all of those attributes, there's been lots of studies around how your senses are dumbed down. Umami is one of those that sings. So I'm going to pair this dish. I've got no problems whatsoever. I know Steve wanted to give me a challenge. You've given me no challenge here whatsoever. It's an obvious choice. It's an obvious choice. It's the Jukes.
Find me an Uber.
Jukes is a cordial, essentially. Jukes is the most amazing product, designed by a chap called Matthew Jukes, wine expert, wine critic, written many, many wine books, was drinking too much wine, needed a healthy, elegant product for adults that was a soft drink that you could pair with food that actually stood up to food pairings. So Jukes #1, I would pair with this dish. All you do, still water, sparkling water, tonic water, it all works. Pour a little bit in a glass, add some Jukes. It's just like a cordial. Add to your desire. I add half a bottle of the Jukes. This is Jukes #1. Really based on the flavour notes you might get from a full-bodied white wine. So we've got some pear in there. We've got some other orchard fruits. We've got some cucumber, which I think is going to work really well with the yuzu. I mean, I would say it works, but it does, trust me. So what Jukes is it's based on possibly the oldest, healthiest drink recipe that was ever invented. It's called the Haymaker's Punch. Around the 13th century, lots of the farmers were drinking what was the old school sort of gin, or they were drinking beer, their own homebrew. People working on the farm didn't want to drink alcohol. So what did they do? They made a drink using the fruits, flowers, and vegetables left over from making meals. And they would macerate in the hot sun in apple cider vinegar, or at the time it was just vinegar. What Matthew Jukes has done, about 4 or 5 years ago now, is work with all the fruits, flowers, and vegetables you can imagine, macerated them cold to keep them fresh in apple cider vinegar. So healthy, good for your gut, almost no calories. These are halal as well, full of body for food pairing, go really well with this dish. We've got Jukes #1, #8, and #6. The reason I've done #1 is because of those orchard fruits, because of the cucumber that's going really well with the yuzu, and because it's got that freshness with this lovely, what I would call a really pretty summer dish, as well as all the amazing flavours that it's got. So thank you, Chef. Anyone wants to try the Jukes, please come up afterwards. Thank you for giving me such an easy pairing to do. All of that umami, all of that amazing food on the plate. Jukes is the one.
Thank you.
Christy.
I lost my packet. I was looking for the packet. Sorry, I got it. No, that's right. And so, talk to me. So, as well as it being a drink, and obviously now my little brain's going, and I'm sure Jana's brain's going. You say it's like a cordial. So, if we were to poach fruits in it and things like that, you would still get all those flavours in. Is it something that we could turn into a sort of a pearl of stuff as well? Because I'm absolutely fascinated by the fact that someone that likes alcohol to then design things that have all of those different fruit notes to the level of detail. I'm finding out more and more these scientist people, they're a little bit,
Tricky.
Yeah, that's the right word.
Jukes is about not being an alternative to alcohol. Jukes is about enjoying a drink that tastes good, is good for you, but tastes complex enough and has the intensity if you don't want a soda or just a glass of water. Because what some of us wine experts were finding is that we go for a glass of wine because it's got the flavour, it's got the intensity, it's a nice drink. And the non-alcoholic alternatives weren't essentially giving you that enjoyment, especially if you're out celebrating or having a nice meal with friends. So Duke's fills that gap in a very healthy way. And with the apple cider vinegar, that's basically doing the job of alcohol. So it's that long-lasting sensation on your palate, being able to hold those flavour notes that you might get from grapes in a wine, but doing that through the apple cider vinegar rather than alcohol.
So have you seen the sort of the trend, if you like? Because obviously we spoke a lot around gut health, we spoke a lot around well-being and things. So are you seeing a conscious change on the aircraft? Because obviously from a food perspective, myself, Melissa and a few others now are really trying to shift that little change in regards to giving more choice and option, not take it away, but incorporate it in. So how have you seen in regards of trends for drinks and things change?
I've seen lots of recent trends, and there's some fabulous spirit alternatives and wine alternatives out there, whether we're talking about sparkling or still, where the alcohol's removed or the alcohol doesn't feature in the first place. What Duke's is it's filling that gap. There's a lot of people that may drink but don't want to drink all the time. They may not drink alcohol at all. Or they might be going through a period where they're working the other end of the flight, they're going on a long flight, and they don't want to have alcohol on that particular day, but you still want a good tasting drink. Where we've seen Duke's is in that exact environment where alcohol is not really featured in the customer proposition. So what Matthew Jukes did was take the cordial that was invented first, and it really was invented. It was a bit of a Willy Wonka moment, and anyone who's interested afterwards, I'll tell you the full story because I certainly don't have time. I can't take over Steve's whole session here. But there's a long story to how this brand was built and how this recipe and all three of the recipes were created. And then after about a year of succeeding with the Jukes cordial, Matthew created the Duke's Cordiality Ready to Drink. So the Ready to Drink, you can, as I said, mix with still, sparkling or tonic water, or anything else, quite frankly. It's a very mixable product. So Duke's RTD, or Ready to Drink product, was created, and Duke's is basically one whole of these inside the 250ml with sparkling water. Where we've seen these is our exclusive partnership with Saudia Airlines in Saudi Arabia, where they wanted exactly that product, where you're not looking at an alternative, you're not looking at something that's pretending to be a wine or pretending to be a gin and tonic, you're looking for a drink in its own right that is elegant, it's for adults, and it's an enjoyable experience that is very, very pairable with food.
Perfect. Right, so I think, as I said, the theme of this was really to talk about how to elevate and make it a dining experience. I like quite an immersive experience when you eat. It's really about trying to marry everything together. So even if it is the finer details in regards of, the flavour within a pearl or a drink that I'm going with it, or as I said, microgreens and stuff that you can really, elevate a dish. It's fabulous. So we've been quite lucky. So as I was explaining to you, there is a wonderful company called The Savourists. It's a lovely guy from North London. He's not just the product's really good, but again, it's like sometimes we see a snack and we see a product, and it's like, you're trying to be very clever and very innovative, but actually some of these things are sitting there underneath your nose. So these snacks do different flavours. So within a salad and a bit of garnish to add texture, these sort of snacks are really good. But because of the flavour profile within things like that, actually pairing again with wine, so drinks, or I keep saying wine, but pairing with drinks and snacks, I think there's a real market to look at because when you go to a bar or you go to a lounge, you go to a coffee shop, it's about what you get, the little amaretti biscuit with your coffee, or it's the little bar snacks you get, things like that. So I think there are so many good innovative products, and again, gluten-free, free from. It's fabulous. So, Fopper, talk to me a bit more about now what you're doing. The next dish. because I know I've got to prep these two ladies, you see. Look, they're eagerly waiting. Everybody wants the free lunch that you're producing.
All right.
And I've got it all at the moment.
So if you do want a free
sorry about
lunch, ladies and gentlemen, I will suggest that you all go down to the Royal Schmeld and AA Bakery, because they've got a whole range of snacks and products that you can eat. Because as much as we want to do fine dining, you get little portions. I got 2 plates of everything, and it's going to be a challenge. But obviously, Royal Schmeld and people like that, they do some wonderful baking products. So do you want to talk a bit about your role within the Royal Schmeld and what you do?
Yeah. I'm a product developer within Royal Smilde, so I develop a lot of different products. It can be pies and quiches, also with cheese and filled puff pastry products. And my mission is to add in the stuff the seaweed, because that's for the flavoring. You can use less salt, you can use less fat. So, and there's several natural benefits of the seaweed.
But without sounding funny, no pie and pasty man I know can produce plates like that. So you haven't always been a pie and pasty man, we'll call it, if you know what I mean, have you?
No.
You've got that. I mean, I was absolutely blown away. So sometimes I get to travel and I get to go around and see people. And sometimes people think development chefs are just people that can't hack the kitchen, or we just get out, or we don't know what we're doing. We just play around with a few things and go home and watch Netflix. But actually, you know, there's a lot more detail to it. So Fobart is actually Michelin star trained.
Yeah.
Yes.
I worked in Star Kitchens for 6 years and 16 years in how do you call it? Food service, high quality restaurants. And I turned over to the industry for the product development in 2011. I started creating products, all of the philosophy of taste. Because when the product tastes good, people sell it again. And a lot of food looks good, but the taste is not good enough. And that's why I worked with seaweed in 2016. I started with seaweed, with fresh seaweed, and I imagine that there's a lot of work to do with these great vegetables out of the sea. We know there's a lot of vegetables in the sea. We call it all seaweed, but there's 15,000 species of seaweed, and all with different tastes, different structures, different textures. So why we don't add seaweed in our main food? Because
you see, but that's what I like about all of you. I think it's all coming back to the same bottom denominators. Even everybody earlier, like, we've all got the same vision in mind. It's about good quality, taste, you know, elevating. And like I said, coming into an industry which wouldn't normally get experienced people like you around, actually, you know, what you can bring to the table in regards of understanding. If you ever meet chefs like Fopper and a few of us that ever work on a molecular level, it's so different if you look at the really high-end gastronomy style food. And yes, you know, you're doing kits, as we know from days of BA and like Sylvia, where you've got, you know, the oven, the crew, you've got to try and do stuff. There's a lot more now. I mean, even up there, some of the technology now in regards of ovens and how you reheat and work and do, you know, it's fabulous. But what I really love is the fact that it's all coming back to the same thing, whether it's Jana with the pearls and getting the flavour in there, whether it's, you know, Kelly with all the different work that these guys are doing. I think sometimes you sort of forget what goes on in the background. And then, like I said, you know, Fopper is doing this amazing stuff with seaweed. I can't tell you how great things are. So, again, like, you know, just little things like, you know, olive oil, buying better quality olive oil. This salt is called oryx salt. It's desert salt, not dessert salt. It's desert salt. So it comes from the Kalahari Desert. It's in salt pools because, you know, trying to look at, you know, a different option, because salt doesn't, you know, salt isn't the devil to a degree. Salt can enhance flavour by about 40%. It can actually, and actually you need salt within your diet. Actually, if you look Sarah Skyring up on YouTube and stuff and listen about, you know, sea salt versus desert salt, and actually having salt within your diet, they're actually making drinks to help your hydration using that. So I think sometimes there's a little bit of bad press, I think, and you'll agree with this as well, around drinks and stuff. You know, everyone thinks low and no alcohol is full of sugar and full of all things you shouldn't have, and alcohol is really bad for you. But, you know, actually, going back to what we spoke about earlier on, moderation, being sensible, making proper good choices. You know,
We've got to find the quality.
Yes,
there's
absolutely.
some people making great quality drinks.
And
like you say, salt's not the enemy.
Yeah.
But as long as you find the quality.
But I think it's educating people how to do it. And again, cutting out a real oil-based dressing. Don't get me wrong. If you're going to do oil, get a Montevideano, get something really, special. But actually, by having a little bit of oil and then having a pearl, you're getting something different. It's lighter, it's different, And if we can get seaweed pearls and stuff, suddenly you're elevating in a different way. These pearls are great, by the way, because they will hold up in a mousse. So if you put them into a mousse and stuff, will they work?
Actually, the pearl is made of seaweed. It's algae.
Well,
it's a product of algae.
I'm a genius. I didn't even realise it. Just a
back
genius.
to the roots.
No, but this is what I'm saying. It's like technology, food, it's fabulous. And I think, there's so much to be learned and done. So, Fobber, do you want to just talk about this dish? Because I don't really want to share, to be honest.
This dish is dorade. We filled it and we put it in the oven on low temperature, marinated with the seaweed.
Yep.
Seaweed, and there's a little bit of green seaweed in. And green seaweed is mostly the herbs from the sea. They are high in iron and flavoring like minerals. And I baked some scampis, with the desert salt.
Desert salt, yeah.
And also I put a little bit of vanilla on the scallops, on the gambas, for the little sweet flavoring. Because the sweet flavoring, it's a natural flavoring in the...
Vanilla, did you say?
Yeah, that's why.
All right, sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we put it also on the dessert, but that's nice. With
You're just freestyling now. You're stitching that up even more now, haven't you? Look, told you it was culinary chaos, ladies and gentlemen.
We put a cream spread from tomato and basil on top of some oven roasted fennel. And,
so you've got the aniseed, you've got tomato. Wow, you've got a busy little plate going on there,
fresh,
chef.
It's fresh.
But talk to me like these spreads, for instance.
If you take it all raw, you can make ceviche from the same
But again, so what we're trying to say, ladies and gentlemen, it's not all high-class ingredients. Yes, the pearls look absolutely premium, but actually, in regards to stuff, the process of things, it's not really it's not like expensive caviar. You know what I mean? It's not like 200 euros for 20 grams, and you put it in your hand, and then it's gone. It's a very different process.
And it's also, you were talking about pure taste. This is what it is about. I write on every sticker, it's pure taste. It's not decoration. This is pure taste. That means you don't need a bunch of them. You just need 1, 2, 3, whatever. And also it's all about taste sensation, right? It's a prize for the palate. It's experience you keep in mind, right? So
I don't think I should put you two together. It's going to be a bad mix.
I'm loving all these layers of flavour. I've got
too
so many
much
cocktail ideas.
Right, exactly. And also, with all respect to the chefs, with the pearls, you can also make it personalized, because you take one pearl on a spoon, you can take 2, you can take 3, you can take none. It's different dish at the end of the day. And also what Foppo is doing, he's putting different pearls on one dish. That means you can be creative. You can
so
mix
is he being a little bit... So you've got the tomato and balsamico one going there.
Right.
So that's tomato and balsamic, but you're also done a little bit of vanilla, and I believe it right, and you're going to do... my favourite one. So, ladies and gentlemen, this pink one, I don't know if you can see that. My good friends at Copper, Chris, I'm going to talk about this a little bit, because this is something called Zalotti blossom. It's an African...
It's an African basil.
So you see, it's like a purple leaf, and it looks beautiful. It looks pretty. So the trouble is, if you just put that on your plate, it's far too powerful a flavour to work in that way. So what you need to do is take the leaves off. I've turned it into sugars, I've turned it into powders. You can use it in so many different ways. And it's better than normal basil, because normal basil, bruises and can come down and actually is an initial perfume, but then it's gone. But if you have a look at that colour, that is amazing. But what Jana's then done is she's taken that Zalotti blossom and turned it into a lovely pink pearl. So you've got lovely little colours going on there. And without sounding a little bit, don't get me wrong here, this is just a base spread that the Royal Schmelden people make. It's not complicated, it's just a simple flavour. It's on a Michelin style dish, yeah? And it's people's perceptions. But if the flavour is there, if the taste is there, if the consistency is right, a bit of fresh asparagus, a bit of pickled asparagus, we've got, the prawns, we've got the dorade, we've got so much going on. hopefully this one's going to this one's going to be a challenge for Kelly.
No.
Because we've got a lot going on. So we've got, a hell of a lot going in regards to stuff. But I think what we're trying to get at is, we're making very simple fine dining looking food. But it's all about quality ingredients. And if you like culinary solutions, one thing myself and a few other people like around here will tell you is like, sometimes chefs need a helping hand. And that's the point of some of these companies, like I said, AA Bakery, Brown Sugar, people like that, they do a lot to really enhance the chef experience and do a lot for people. Because not everybody gets the chance, but we're in the marketplaces, we're seeing that, So if we can help from a nutritional level, if we can help from a culinary level, the one thing about this show, and if you haven't already sussed it, it's a bit like a big family. Like there's so much, you see the same people all the time, we actually share quite a lot. And I think, if we can all steer this ship of the travel industry and the tourism, to go in a certain way, it really is helping. I mean, On Board do such a great job in regards of promoting all the different areas from equipment, like looking about innovations and challenges. And so,
Amazing.
Getting chefs like Foppa, getting companies like the Royal Schmiel, like AA Bakery, like I said, Brown Sugar, people like that actually coming in. Seeing the Coppercrest guys, they're the guys behind in the green jackets. They're not playing golf. They haven't, just won the Masters. But, please go and see the Copper guys, because the flavours they get are fantastic. And then you've got Jana with the pearls, like something different. Like they're really, really elegant, But they can be used, as you said, they can be used in a Prosecco. So imagine those Salotti pearls in a nice little Prosecco, or with a rosé or something, turned into a jelly. Like I said, you set them in stasis. So imagine having a panna cotta and you've got a little coffee pearl just sitting in there. When you cut in, you can eat it. It's reducing sugar, it's reducing, all these other things. So Kelly, come on. Foppa, by the way, another round of applause, because Foppa is just
it's
absolutely...
been really easy again.
It's so
really
nice.
Easy
it's
again.
not easy. Kelly, stop saying...
No, you're just not
Right.
giving me a challenge. Foppa, you're just
Next
making
year I'm
these
going to sort something
amazing
out.
dishes. So, right, as Foppa was cooking there and all these beautiful smells are coming through and everyone's talking about food, I'm getting brunch vibes. And, brunches have been there for decades and decades, but I'm seeing a trend. I work in London.
Cool.
I'm seeing a trend for the premium brunches that we've seen coming out of the Middle East and Singapore in like big 5-star hotels, at very premium brunches. We've seen them come to London in the last 2 years, and they're growing and growing. You're seeing Michelin-style dishes like this coming to premium hotels, restaurants, bars even. So I was getting brunch vibes. And when I think of a brunch, I think of a Bloody Mary. Because
good
we're talking
shout.
about wellness, I'm going to go
Tomatoes,
Virgin Mary. So there's also something else I want to say about Bloody Marys or Virgin Marys. What is it about when you get on a plane that you feel like a Bloody Mary? Now, I know that not everyone likes tomato juice. I know you could be a lover or a hater. It is a bit Marmite. Like, I get that completely. But for those of us that are lovers, there's something about getting on a plane. I'm one of these people. I get on a plane, and the first thing I feel like is a Bloody Mary. Now, I don't think a week goes by where I don't meet someone for the first time, tell them what I do, tell them I've worked in airlines, and they say, what is it about when I get on a plane that I feel like a Bloody Mary? Everyone feels the same. And I do know why. It's the umami that we talked about earlier. But there's something else there that I can't explain. But I'm going to pair a Virgin Mary from the Pickle House. Now, the Pickle House... And the other thing is, any airlines listening, please, please, please put a good tomato juice on your planes, because people love their Bloody Marys. And the quality of the juice is so important. We can put Liam Perrins, we can put Tabasco, we can put salt, pepper, celery salt, garnish as much as we like. But it's got to be the base of the juice that's quality. Quality we were talking about earlier. I love the Pickle House because Florence, the creator, uses pickle juice as her USP to add to the flavour. Pickle juice is full of electrolytes. So when you're up at 38,000 feet, or any time if we're having that brunch in Dubai or London or Paris or wherever we are, you want to be drinking something that's delicious and pairs well with the food that you're eating, but you want to feel like you're doing something a little bit good as well. So whether you mix it with vodka and have a Bloody Mary, or whether you have a Virgin Mary, of course you can have a Red Snapper, Bloody Maria, or a Michelada as well. And if anyone doesn't know what they are, again, we can talk about those afterwards. I'm just pouring a straight Virgin Mary. I would normally put ice in here, but Steve hasn't given me any ice, so I'm just going to go without the ice.
Yes.
actually, you know,
got one stitch up in there at least.
Some people don't like ice with their Bloody Marys, feel like it dilutes it. So, you know, we can go with that as an option. And I've actually used the Nice Slice garnish. Now,
I wonder what these were.
Nice Slice, I've used lemon because I like it. No, I haven't. No, I've used lime because I thought the lime would go a bit better with the, because garnish is important, just as it is with Foppa's dish here. So with the tomato basil based sauce, I mean, I'm not pairing a tomato juice because we got tomato on the plate, but that was a little bit of a win for me when he said that at the end of the dish. I'd already decided what I was going to pair, and that sort of worked well. So I've used the lime just to pair with the dish bit. But Nice Slice is air-dried garnish. So we've all heard about dehydrated fruit. You might have heard about freeze-dried fruit using sort of similar science to how they make the astronauts' food and NASA and other companies. This is air-dried. So if you like things like beef jerky, the air-drying process is what they use to make things like jerky and some of the ingredients that you might see in fruit balls and things like that, fruit protein balls and things. What the team at Nice Slice have done is use that technology, and they're saving fruit that would otherwise be wasted. So it's a waste-saving process. So healthy fruit that doesn't have a home, either because it's not sold or because there's just excess grown in that particular season. They save the fruit so it doesn't go to landfill. They saved 40 million tons of healthy fruit last year by making ingredients and end products. One of them is Nice Slice. It's a fabulous garnish. By air drying, saving all that fruit's brilliant, but by air drying, you don't get a soggy piece of garnish in your drink. If you use other...
That's really smart, actually, because
it doesn't shrivel. It doesn't shrivel, and by air drying, you save the nutrients of the fruit. I'm not going to say that you're getting one of your 5 a day by having this drink here, but what I am saying is you can still smell and taste the lime. You can taste that you've got an addition of that layer of flavour. That's why we use garnish. We want an extra little bit of je ne sais quoi. We want that finish to the product. So I think the pickle juice is an outstanding addition to tomato juice and a tomato juice base for a Virgin Mary. Because of those electrolytes, it's really good for you, but it gives you that extra umami. We want layers of flavour, especially at altitude, because those senses are dumbed, and it's got all that lovely umami. I think pretty much for me that's a perfect pairing. I'd love some feedback on whether you agree.
I wasn't expecting that, Gemma, because a Bloody Mary is something that I would rather. So it's really funny. So going back to my Colbert Crest thing, I did a lovely little gazpacho mousse that I set and I served with a number of different cresses, because actually I like the flavour. It's not a drink I would drink, but within food I really like it. And I was looking at that dish and I was really surprised, that you did that, because for me now, you've got the sweet and sour and umami, you've got the sweet and sour and umami in the balsamico, but then you've got the natural flavours then, because you've got the salts enhancing it, you've got the aniseed, we've got the shiso cress, which gives a similar flavour.
The aniseed is delicious.
And it's just, I cannot tell you how simple cookery can be, but can be elevated in so many different ways. So yeah, I'm gutted now, because I really thought you was going to get stitched with that one, but anyway.
No challenge yet.
Right.
Keep going.
So the good news is Foppa doesn't wait for any introductions or any prompts. Foppa just goes. Yeah? So Foppa, do you want to explain a little bit? So Foppa is such a genius, and they're doing such a lot of good work, that you don't just use seaweed in savoury products, do you, Foppa?
No. Seaweed is fit in all kind of products, because if you're working with the fresh seaweed, you get the fresh taste. I explained earlier,
sure.
The fresh taste of the sea with a little bit of saltiness from the environment of the living water, the salt water. And I also made red velvet cake and spice cake, and also brownies. And I can reduce sugar and fat in the brownies and have still the moisture, the smooth texture of the chocolate brownie. And because of the fibers like alginate, it sticks longer in your mouth, so you taste longer and more flavors of, for example, chocolate or spices. So you add less chocolate or less spices or less fatty in your mouth, because the alginate, it's a fatty flavoring texture in your mouth. So Yeah, it fits also
So
in sweets.
you're getting seaweed brownies, chocolate and seaweed brownies. It's just so again, it's so clever. And then so you do a little bit of red fruits with that. I wanted to introduce a little product from my friends. I won't mention again, Cobbett Cress. They've got this cress here. It's called a honey cress. So it looks like a savoury cress, but it actually tastes of honey. So I'll put it on here, and you can come and have a taste of it. Because if I go around each individual one, we're going to have a bit of a nightmare. But if you want to go and see them, they're around the corner. Here you go, you two. We'll try this. So what else are you serving with it, Fobber? What else is going with it? What pearls are you doing?
I'm serving with the autumn pearls with elderberry and also vanilla.
Give me that
You
bit.
can also try honeyberry.
Honeyberry?
Yeah. That's the one Steve was talking about.
Yeah. I can put three of them.
Sure.
I can
because
put three of them.
honeyberry is something I learned from Steve. It's supposed to be a superfood with a lot of magnesium, with a lot of vitamins. That's tricky about that.
Yeah, that's nice. And I
Absolutely.
put the raspberries, how do you call it?
Sure.
But up. So
Sure.
they are hollow inside, and I can the pearl put in.
Yeah.
So you have a flavor, explosion in your mouth with your eating the.
In your raspberry, so to speak.
Yeah.
Am I on? Yeah. So if you taste that cress, you'll see it's got a sweet note to it. You weren't quite expecting that. So again, instead of having a really rich something on there, like a little light garnish, instead of a blooming mint leaf, just, come on, like, let's be inventive. Let's find something else. Like, I got chocolate. Will basil work with chocolate? Yes, it will. What other flavours will work with it? And then again, like, vanilla's great, but vanilla pods are, a little bit expensive. They have some really good ones, as we know, like, whether it's Madagascar, whether it's Sri Lankan, like, there's so many different areas to get. But actually, if you then get a good flavour in a pearl and it's there, you're not having to mess around with it, and I think it's just really good. And what's the other one you're using? Are you using the...
I knew the
Honeyberry,
Yeah.
elderberry.
Elderberry.
and-
It's the elderberry. Oh, well, so you're getting all that dark fruits, light fruits. Yes, stitch Kelly
Actually,
up.
with chocolate, you can even go with black garlic because it's
Really?
the
Of
same.
course. Yeah.
It's the same umami. And
So-
black garlic is very healthy again. It's much more healthy than a normal garlic. And with all these maturization procedure, it's very sweet. So you can easily go with chocolate.
Well, I'm going to open it up for any questions because we are almost finished. I've got a few more things to point out, but has anyone got any questions around, we'll call it, sort of culinary innovation, linked to culinary nutrition, linked to just, indulgent. But I'm honestly, we're in such a good place in regards to the food and drink industry now because of understanding and because people are actually really starting to think about it more. There's big stories behind things like sustainability, ethicalness, so much, but well-being, mental health, it's all linking in. I think suddenly as a race of people, we're finally getting to understand each other a little bit. So she hasn't got there yet. She's got to tie it, you see. She's a genius, but she's got to get stitched. She's got to just be tested. Yes. So,
You're testing me a
anyone
bit
got any
more.
questions for Fopper? I know, Jana, Kelly. Roger. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have to introduce this man. I think I'm a legend, but this man's an even bigger legend.
I'm worried about the question he might ask.
Yeah, I was about to say. I thought we had a microphone, but then I realised his nose is a bottle of something, so we're all good. Honestly, I've been very lucky today to get help. So, if you can see the guys, Harry and Ben from the Savourists, because they've done the little. The little crostini bits has gone on there. If you want to see the Montebiviano for the oil, Jana for the pearls, Jetvine, thank you so much for everything you've done. There is a little freebie from my mates at Lily O'Brien's because no things would be safe without it. So as well as we were saying, eating healthy, doing things right, you still need a little bit indulgent. So the stuff from Lily O'Brien's, I'd like to say is calorie-free, guilt-free, fat-free, but it's really not, but we'll just pretend. But what I wanted to draw you to attention to was these colourful little things here. And bless him, the little guy's not here. There's a little young lad called Jack. Well, he's not a young lad, but he's a nice lad. He does bespoke flavoured chocolates. His company's called Art Chocolat, and he does loads of different flavours. So he's got a caramel, he's got a lemon, he's then got, I think it's a cinnamon one. But you just have a look at other colours and how they look. They are just beautiful. But it's really good quality chocolate, and it's really high end. So sometimes you don't need a dessert to say, I would rather have a good quality, one little chocolate like that with a nice little espresso coffee, you know, and so, like I said, it's about adding value on a plane. It's about adding value in what you do. You know, cut it down. Give them something really good, really small. We spoke earlier, whether it's a soda bread, whether it's a pearl, whether it's a, you know, drink, like, honestly, we really need to think a little bit more around, you know, what we do and how we do it. Look, it's not for every cabin. I know we've gone a little bit premium. That's why we said fine dining. You know, we aren't always at the back of the bus with a feather and leather. You know, we're trying to get away from that sort of thing. But, you know, I'd just really like to just emphasise that. So, also, I'm going to give them a shout. My lovely friends at Haagen-Dazs from General Mills, I think they're called, at the end. Yeah, they've got some lovely flavours. So it's a nice little pot. So the good news is, if you think to yourself, how many steps have I done today? I've been walking around the show quite enough. I've earned myself a little pot of Haagen-Dazs before I leave. Please go and see them. It's really good. But again, I chose Haagen-Dazs purely and simply because it was the only, I mean, sorry, it wasn't just the only ice cream at the show, but it's a really good quality ice cream. Yeah? So again, rather than cheap, nasty ice cream, you know, quality. And again, it's the nice vanilla. We've got the vanilla pearl. So, Fobber, just explain the rest of your dish, please. Yeah,
this is the seaweed brownie on top of, and with raspberry, filled with a diversity of pearls, with the honey pearl and elderberry, so also vanilla. The vanilla ice cream I put on, and the honey cress of coppered cress.
Yes.
So that's the...
Wicked. Well, Fobber and Jana, fabulous. Can I get these guys? Honestly, Fobber's been an absolute genius. He stepped in at last minute because, as always, you know, we have a few curveballs. One of my other chefs decided to break his ankle. Bit inconsiderate of him, but we'll let him off. I'll send him a card. So sometimes it's really nice, but, you know, you turn up at a show and you meet somebody who's just absolutely, you know, a little diamond in somewhere where you wouldn't expect to find, you know, an ex-Michelin star chef that just doing something fabulous with seaweed and really progressing a company like the Royal Schmield forward in regards of innovating and trying to be different. So, Kelly, come on, what are you going to do, Kelly?
I'm going to go crazy.
Oh,
it's the last one. It's the last session of the day. It's the last day of the show. So I'm going to go 2 pairings. I'm going to show you 2 different extremes. So we talked about the Dukes with the first dish. Sorry, do you want me to clear a space? Of course you can put it there. I cleared a space and then I filled it up again.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go 2 extremes of the scale. And this one's going to take a bit of explaining, so I'll do it in the quickest way possible. So I'm sure you're all hungry. It is lunchtime. Wow, look at that. I mean, amazing.
Well done, Chef. That looks superb. Thank you, Chef. You're really good. Love that.
So yeah, like I say, I'm going to go two extremes of the scale. I'm going to go with another Duke's product. So I talked about the different flavours in the white Duke's number 1. I'm going to go Duke's 8. So Duke's 8 is based on some of the notes you might get from a very premium rosé wine. So we've got some watermelon, some raspberries. So, I mean, you can see why I'm pairing this. So I go sparkling water, about half a glass in the glasses that we've got here. You can also do it in a wine glass and you can swirl. It's very good for the flavour. And then again, we've got that lovely Duke's effect. This is lovely to do in a restaurant or, of course, on board in a premium cabin. You get the real theatre. And then that's based on the flavours of a rosé if we're talking about wine. But like I said, we're not trying to be an equivalent to alcohol. We're trying to design a drink that's full of body, complexity, intensity, is an elegant adult-style drink that is unlike any other. So full of all those like red fruits. So as soon as Chef and Steve started talking about those red fruits, that lovely plum, black currant, we got lots going on in here. Even Matthew Jukes himself doesn't tell me all the ingredients. There's some secret stuff in here, but all handmade. Handmade, crafted in London. Very, very premium product. So I thought that would be good to pair with this. And I can guarantee you it pairs very nicely. I feel bad eating in front of you, but, you know, because it's such delicious food. But I can guarantee that. So, and just to explain, we talked about the ready-to-drink. RTD is a real trend at the moment, and I'm sure it's going to keep growing because it's so convenient. So that exact drink, exactly the same, already done in can, exact same one there. Now, completely other end of the scale, we're talking about wellness and health. Alcohol's not a bad thing. Everything in moderation. Let's enjoy life. So I'm going to go with an alcoholic product. I'm going to go with a ready-to-drink cocktail, another ready-to-drink. Now, the reason I'm using Mix of Total Happiness, or MOTH, abbreviated to, is because the difference I find with MOTH and why I love working with this product, I'm going with an espresso martini, by the way. As soon as you started talking about chocolate and those espresso flavors and the red berries, I mean, some people even put red berry garnish in their espresso martinis now. I'm like, it's got to be the MOTH espresso martini. Talked about quality. Great quality products are what people are looking for. Wellness and moderation is important. great quality doesn't mean that alcohol is bad. What I love about Moth is that they work in partnership with the spirit partners. So there's no hiding the fact, there's no secret here that I'm talking about a product that has vodka in it. We're talking about espresso martini. They work with Wood Brothers. Very premium distillery, triple distilled using premium grain. And Moth wanted to work with someone that they could put on the label and show that partnership is happening. You know, when you look at a product, especially with alcohol inside, often you don't get all of the nutritional information like you do with non-alcoholic products and food items. So seeing that transparency and knowing what's inside your drink, I think is really important to customers. It's certainly important to me. So a little shake, no widget, nothing artificial in here, just cold brew coffee, vodka. That's pretty much it. So if you give it a little shake and you pour. Now what I also like about Mix of Total Happy is the way that these recipes have been created. We talk about good, better and best. So in a convenient environment, say an economy cabin on an aircraft, you've got the can, you can drink from it and it's delicious. Give it a little shake, drink from it, you're not missing out on anything. Better would be poured straight from the can into a glass like I've just done now. Best would be first class cabin, perfect martini glass, couple of coffee beans on top, served exactly the way. But it takes 2 seconds, it's consistent every time. Every single member of your team at your airline, whether it's your cabin crew or your lounge teams, can make the same cocktail the same way every time. It tastes good, it's the same ABV that you'd get in the American bar at the Savoy. At the best hotels, the best bars, the best mixologists in the world have helped to create these cocktails. There's 10 in the range, but this is the espresso martini. I mean, with chocolate brownie berries and that lovely Haagen-Dazs ice cream. Promise I'll stop soon and let you eat.
Yeah, you get to eat in a minute, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, Mum, that's amazing. That's amazing. Also waking me up.
You spent hours on that ice
the
cream,
third day of the
chef.
show is an espresso martini.
Painstaking. You were up at 5 o'clock making ice cream for Haagen-Dazs. Yeah.
Espresso martini is the most popular growing cocktail. Margarita has the biggest share in the world. Espresso is the biggest growth cocktail.
Wow.
So I'm really glad I got to show that. And and I just wanted to show a range of drinks. We've gone from tomato juice, we've got the Duke's Cordialities, which I think are insanely good. I talked about the baobab fruit in Unrooted earlier. This is a healthy shot, so I'm going to go with one of these to cleanse my palate. And also to give me some energy for the last day of the show and the fact that I've got a really late flight home tonight. So much choice, so much versatility. Just like Chef has created really versatile foods with lots of different flavors. Just like Jana has shared with us her pearls with all those different flavors coming through. Layering up the flavors on the plate. You need layers and complexity to your drink. So you need to choose quality, you need choice, and they need to work. They need to work with the dishes. So hopefully what I've paired today will work for you and give you some ideas to create your customer experience moving forward.
Kelly, honestly, like guys, your food's been fantastic, your products are fantastic. Putting you on the spot and doing that, as I said, you know, the one thing I like about a show like this is you get to bring ingredients from the show, people from the show, you know, experts in all different fields. You get produce that is just amazing. So please come up, try the food, try the pearls, Lily O'Brien's chocolates, art chocolate. We've got dressings and stuff. It is free. You can all come and taste it. I'm going to be around for the rest of the time on the Royal Smell Stand. Fopper, Mr. Seaweed, absolutely fantastic. Big round of applause for Jana, the pearls and what you're doing. Thank you for making the trip from Berlin to here, which is fabulous. And Kelly, as always, good little double act. So not quite Saturday kitchen, but we're getting there. So if any agents want to talk to me, I'm available for birthday parties and bar mitzvahs and stuff. But
what a great way to end Taste of Travel.
No, thank
you so much, Steve.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Been a pleasure.
Couldn't have been more fun. You seem to have bought every product for the whole show.
But that's the point of the show, isn't it? You walk around the show, bring it to the one place. So let's get those key messages out there and stuff. So Joe and the hospitality team, thank you.
Come and try some of these delicious examples. And thank you all for your support again this year. See you next year.